Hello, everybody. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to the channel. My name is Elizabeth, and I am your friendly hillbilly host. And we have got Sweet Tater here with us. She is my mommy, and this is Hillbilly Crime. All right, y'all. We've already got a whole bunch of people in here. Let's see. Dina, Gage, looking forward to seeing this. Gibby Gibbons. Stines is not a bad looking fella. Those dimples, though. Yeah. Linda Brock. The way I understand it in Kentucky, a district judge can't be sued for a civil offense while in office. They have absolute immunity. Do you know if this is true? In that case, they couldn't touch the judge. So Stines is the fall guy. Say hi, everybody, Mommy.
Well, hello, everyone. This is Sweet Tater. It's so good to be here. Get my glasses on so I can see. This will make me look smart.
There you go. There you go. Vanessa Irwin says the Judicial Conduct Commission is the only entity authorized under the Kentucky Constitution to take disciplinary action against a sitting Kentucky judge. The JCC also has authority over trial communications. Commissions. Okay.
Well, you know, if you bring civil suit against the judge, he'd have one against him every day.
Yeah, that's true.
He's going to make people mad.
Yeah. Ivy Speed says, once your coverage on Big Crooked Cops wraps up, will you cover John Benet Ramsey? That is such a tragic, tragic case. I have no doubt that the Ramseys are absolutely innocent, and I hold them in high regard. Well, I absolutely agree with you 1,000%. That little girl's family, I do not believe, had anything to do with that. And I think they were put through absolute hell by a very incompetent police department, and the fact that they would not share information. You know, back then the different departments, and probably still now, the different departments didn't share information as well as what they do now, or what they're supposed to do now anyway. The Kentucky Proud. Hello. Okay, so what I wanted to do tonight was I wanted to go back and listen to that first, not the first one, but the first of the interviews that dropped this week. There was a lot of things in there that when we first watched it, I didn't agree with it, but we want to watch it anyway. Now that we have heard what Mickey's lawyer has come out and said in his latest interview, I want to go back and re-listen to her, the investigative reporter. So we're going to listen to her, what she says again, and then we're going to listen to the lawyer and just see what do you guys think? Has your perspective changed on this case? Because a lot of people that I've been speaking to, their perspectives are changing. I went to a business today, and the little girl that was helping me, we talked for a long time, and she said that she knew both Mickey and Judge from work. You know, they would come in where she worked. And she said, the funny thing was, she said Mickey was the rude one. She said Judge was just as nice as he could possibly be all the time. She said, but Mickey was the one that was rude and I guess impatient, which, you know. But still, that struck me. What do you think about that, Zelmy?
Well, I guess, I don't know, you know, people entitled to their own opinions on something.
Absolutely. Okay.
And she's entitled to change her opinion. But I think a lot of people are starting to think that if they're watching stuff and staying up to date,
Yeah.
They'll probably be thinking that there's more there than met the eye.
Yeah. Okay, so let's listen to this first one.
Part the prosecutor said it could take 4 to 6 months to collect and test all the evidence that they may use at trial. There is a video. So I ask again, what am I missing? Lucky for me, Allison Weiner is here again. She is News Nation's investigative producer and has worked this story in Letcher County from the beginning. Okay, Allison, man, you've been finding out a lot, and I have been sort of going crazy trying to figure out what could a motive possibly be to see an act like that play out so starkly. Have you learned more about the motive?
I have, and I think first of all, we need to say that the daughters are not involved. Sheriff Stines' daughter had nothing to do with Sheriff Mullins. That has been told to me by multiple sources multiple times. But I think what we want to also say is that this is still, the Sheriff Stines did shoot Judge Mullins, and that is, he did kill him. So whatever we say, now let me just talk about why he might have done that. I've talked to multiple sources, and I found out a lot in the last couple of days. I found out that Sheriff Stines was getting a lot of pressure on him prior to the civil deposition that he was involved in. As you said, he was sued for Deputy Fields' behavior, his using, sex trafficking and also engaging in sex by keeping people out of jail who were already convicted. And that is the thing that we know happened criminally. And the only person held responsible was Deputy Fields. What we have found out now from multiple sources is that not only was Sheriff Stines involved in that activity, in the sexual activities that were happening in that courthouse, but also there have been allegations that Judge Mullins was involved. And Judge Mullins also was involved in sex trafficking, according to several sources. So prior to this deposition, was told to me, and certainly by Sheriff Stines' lawyer, but also by two other sources, that Sheriff Stines was under a lot of pressure prior to the deposition. We talked before about how the sheriff couldn't say anything, how quiet he was during the deposition, and he was known for being outspoken, very kind of prickly, had a bad temper, and somehow he made it through that whole deposition without, shouting or losing his temper and being kind of almost zoned out. It was described to me by Ned Pillersdorf, who is representing the plaintiff in that civil rights action. So I think what we've learned now is that this scandal, this sex for favors, sex for keeping women who were drug addicts out of prison, getting them home detention or getting them rehab help, goes higher than Sheriff Stines. And when he sat down for that deposition, there was incredible pressure on him to talk about things that he wasn't supposed to talk about people that he's not supposed to talk about.
There it is, y'all. We heard this interview the other day, and she was saying all this stuff, and it was just too much for me to actually comprehend. Even though we've heard it and we've heard the rumors and all of that, this was still the very first person that was saying it, that was coming outright saying the sex trafficking part, which I've been saying it for a long time, but I'm not mainstream media either.
And that pressure became incredibly intense before he testified, and there was pressure on him after he testified in that deposition under oath. The only person that seemed to be taking any responsibility or being on the hook for this sex scandal, besides Deputy Fields, who already had been sentenced, served his 3 months in jail for one complainant, one woman who said that she was forced into sex in order to be able to stay in her home and not go to jail. We know that there are other victims. I have spoken to other alleged victims, and we will be following up on that with you, Ashley.
Let me ask you this. I got a checklist. Can you tell me, true or not true, that the sheriff is claiming that it was the judge who brought him, the sheriff, in on the sex ring, meaning favors to inmates if they come into chambers and perform sex acts, and that something happened at the lunch that they were at the day of the execution. Is there any truth to that?
There is some truth to it. The sheriff isn't claiming it. I have 2 to 3 sources who have told me that that Judge Mullins was the architect of this sex for favor scheme and was heavily involved, and that there is another witness who said actually that he was sent women by Judge Mullins.
Okay, so what did she just say? She's got 2 or 3 witnesses victims. Here, let me rewind that, y'all. I want to get that right.
There is another witness who said actually that he was to 3 sources
and performed sex acts, and that something happened at the lunch that they were at the day of the execution. Is there any truth to that?
There is some truth to it. The sheriff isn't claiming it. I have 2 to 3 sources who have told me that that Judge Mullins was the architect of this sex for favor scheme and was heavily involved, and that there is another witness who said actually that he was sent women by Judge Mullins.
Okay, so she's got 2 or 3 sources that are saying Judge Mullins was the architect, the top dog of this Smex ring. And then she has another witness who I'm assuming, speculating, would be a man who is apparently saying that Judge Mullins was sending him girls. I guess that would be very much like Ben Fields sending his uncle girls. Man, oh man, y'all.
For sex. So the sex trafficking, that is what we've heard. In terms of what happened at that lunch, I've heard a lot of different versions from a lot of different people. So I can't say for certain. I do know that the sheriff was anxious to speak to the judge. He had not spent the night in his home. He's had trouble with his wife and their relationship for years, apparently. He had stepped out, so forth and so on. But that night, he had been kicked out, and he came to that lunch in his civilian clothes. And then later, I also have learned that when he went to call his daughter, the sources claimed that he was calling his daughter to say goodbye because he knew what he was going to do.
Wow.
And
that's unreal.
Sorry.
He couldn't reach
calling
her on
his daughter and using both phones. Yeah, using his phone and couldn't reach her, and then use the judge's phone to tell her that that's what he's about to do. Okay, keep digging. This is incredible, and I know there's a lot more. I'm still waiting for the definitive proof, because quickly.
I'm sorry, we just want to tell our viewers that this goes higher. There wasn't just one Deputy Fields, who was involved in this scheme. He wasn't the only one abusing women who were drug addicted and helpless and unable to tell anyone about what was happening to them.
Thanks for watching.
Wow. Mommy, what do you think watching that?
Well, I think that it's, there's a lot of speculation going on, of course, but I think that there's something to it. And a little bit will come out and a little bit will come out. And I don't know who it was that told her he had been sent women by Mullins, but I wonder if he was at the courthouse.
Well, they say that one of the lawyers, one of those big high-priced lawyers in Whitesburg, who is one of the good old boys, they say he took off to Mexico. I've heard 5 or 6 people say that now. They took off to Mexico, but I don't know if he did or not.
I'd go to Mexico if it could. It'd be warm down there.
Yeah. Mama Duck says, I take all this with a huge grain of salt. I absolutely agree with her on that. But once we listen to this other one, it kind of shows us that they know more, because now this is two. She reported that, and then this that we're going to watch now is just, we're not going to watch the whole show. We're just going to watch hit Mickey's attorney and see what he's. I want to listen to him again.
The defense's expert possibly being present during the evaluation, which would be conducted by the Kentucky Correctional Psychiatric Center.
I'm not comfortable doing a criminal responsibility if he's going to have an expert on that position, unless we know what the issues are they're raising in the criminal responsibility with our expert. So we're going to get in a position where our experts at KCPC or the court's experts at KCPC are on criminal responsibility. We'll make a finding while their expert's present, and then he's going to go back and write his report. I don't want the court's KCPC evaluators doing an evaluation until they know what their position is, what their expert's position is. That way he's not interfering, but he's in an evaluation for criminal responsibility, and then he gets to go back and then address issues that he thought were not discussed properly during the KCPC responsibility issue.
So both sides will file briefs on that issue. Meanwhile, the exchange of evidence is well underway.
I know we have made discovery. I think 2 weeks ago we made another some more discoveries, some issues. We still have some things coming in and things being tested. I would think within the next 4 to 6 months, all discovery and testing would be complete.
I want to bring in Jeremy Bartley. He represents Mickey Stines in this case. So I want you to kind of break down, Jeremy, what exactly you're looking for here with the criminal responsibility evaluation. I mean, is this something that you would present to a jury, or would this be something that would be evaluated pre-trial?
Well, it has the potential to be both. So basically, we are required, if we intend to rely in part or in whole on a mental health defense concerning criminal responsibility, then once we are confident that we can announce our intention to use that as part of our defense, and we have retained our expert, then the Commonwealth of Kentucky has the opportunity to have Mr. Stines evaluated by their expert. And at this point, KCPC there's a huge backlog of cases in the state of Kentucky. And so normally this might be something that we would wait a little bit longer on, but in the interest of trying to expedite this case, we have presented Mickey for examination now.
The Commonwealth seemed a little surprised by this. It sounds like they kind of expected the competency exam request, which is different. Competency determines whether or not your client can assist in his own defense. Sure. But you said it was a joint motion. So explain to me kind of why they seemed sort of taken off guard there.
Yeah, and I don't want to speak for the Commonwealth, but I have spoken with Mr. Still after. I think potentially there was a misunderstanding between the two of us, but I will say that we have not had a reason to believe that he is not competent. And so competency for the viewers is, that's an examination of whether he's able to understand the nature of the proceedings and whether he's able to assist us in preparing his case for trial. It concerns only the now. Where is he at today in terms of his ability to understand those things and to participate? Whereas criminal responsibility, that examination focuses on the time of the alleged acts. And so what we said in court is that I have no reason at this point to believe that he's unable to assist us. I believe that he understands the nature of the proceedings. But I do believe that his defense will in part rely upon a mental health defense.
In the Commonwealth of Kentucky, the statute is very clear. A person is not responsible for criminal conduct if at the time of such conduct, as a result of mental illness or intellectual disability, he lacks substantial capacity either
Okay, I wanted to stop that so we could read it together and comment on it. Okay, so this is mental illness or intellectual disability. A person is not responsible for criminal conduct if at the time of such conduct, as a result of mental illness or intellectual disability, he lacks substantial capacity either to appreciate the criminality of his conduct or to conform his conduct to the requirements of law. That's a whole big mouthful, you guys. Do you understand what I read? What we read, Mom?
Yeah, I understood it. It's saying that that something can happen to a person, and they might kill, red room somebody, and they're not held responsible.
Well, here, let's look at number 2. It says, as used in this chapter, the term mental illness or intellectual disability does not include an abnormality manifested only by repeated criminal or otherwise antisocial conduct. A defendant, so would that mean like Ruggs?
Well, I was thinking that it meant that it was only one incident.
Well, it says
he repeated criminal or otherwise antisocial conduct.
Number 3 says a defendant may prove mental illness or intellectual disability as used in this section in exculpation of criminal conduct. Exculpation of criminal conduct. What do you guys think? So we heard the other day, competency is his mental state now, where he's at. Can he help with his defense? Can he help his lawyers defend him in court? And does he understand the seriousness and stuff of what's happening? He said that he had no reason to believe that. So they're not looking at competency. They're pretty sure he's all right. He's all there. But the criminal responsibility part of that, I mean, it's kind of confusing because it's saying that it's a mental health defense. So it kind of makes you think some sort of a mental illness or something like that. But, and I'm no lawyer, of course, but it makes, what I think it means is that he was under so much stress and so much pressure, because that's what he says. That's what that lawyer says. He was in such a unique position. He was in, I don't remember if that's the word he used or not, unique. Let me finish it.
Either to appreciate the criminality of his conduct or to conform his conduct to the requirements of law. We saw the body camera footage that was released that we obtained earlier this month. Your client seemed very paranoid in this footage. You know, he's asking where they're taking him, all of this stuff.
That must be at Leslie County.
You know, it almost sounded like he was afraid they were going to take him in the woods somewhere and do something to him, or that he was going to be taken somewhere. I mean, did he feel an imminent threat? And was it because of this lawsuit, about the sex in the courthouse and all of these allegations?
If you'd like a one-word answer, yes. Yes, he did feel threatened.
I love his eyes.
By Judge Mullins?
He felt threatened by, I'm not going to say specifically who, but at this point, but he was concerned about if he said the wrong thing or if he had already said something that could cause people to want to retaliate against him, to cause harm to him or his family. Yes, he did feel that there was an imminent threat. And, is it related to the deposition? Well, in large part, yes. And there were a variety of things that were happening there in the area of the courthouse that I think a lot of people wanted to keep secret. And, I think we're starting to see, as you've reported, and about some of the things that were behind the veil were not operated the way they should be.
There's been some reporting out there by another outlet. There have been some people who've floated some theories to us that even though, Mickey Stines was obviously, as the sheriff, named in this lawsuit as the sheriff, that he was somehow involved in all of this with the sex in the courthouse somehow. Was Sheriff Stines, as the sheriff, involved with the sex for favors in the courthouse?
The civil suit, the only reason that our client was named in the civil suit, and we're not representing him in that, but he was named solely as the sheriff. And the allegation in that case was solely that he failed to train this Ben Fields, who was convicted of having these sexual relations with people on pretrial release in the same chambers where these acts occurred. But I've not seen any allegation concerning my client in that case that relates to those allegations, and I've not seen anything that substantiates anything of that nature against our client.
Is there anything else that you can reveal to us about what was going on in that courthouse and why he felt threatened that day?
Well, I just think there are a lot of things that he certainly would have been privy to, had been made aware of, and I think that there was a concern that what he might say in that deposition could be harmful to others. I think that this caused him severe distress. And I think you see a person in the body cam footage that you see a person who is completely outside of themselves, outside of the normal way that people were used to seeing the sheriff. And, the days leading up to that deposition and the days following that deposition, he was looking around every corner. He had every reason to believe that there was a threat to his wife and daughter. You heard the testimony at the preliminary hearing that our client's statement was they were going to take or kidnap my wife and daughter.
He said he had every right to believe that they were in danger. At the time, for the few days around that deposition. So he must have been really afraid. Somebody was putting a lot of pressure on him, at least it's what it looks like, that somebody or somebody's multiple, plural, was putting so much pressure on Mickey on what to say and what not to say at that deposition.
And that was a very real threat that the sheriff felt. And so I think that it's important to understand that while this is not a whodunit case, you have a video, there was a shooting, but there's a real husband, a real father, and a real human who was placed in a absolutely very delicate situation.
He was placed in a very delicate situation.
It was impossible. It was an impossible situation. Oh, looky, I got the fan on there again.
You can't tell me that the administrative staff in the whole building didn't know, if not the county. Well, I've been telling y'all ever since we started this channel there's been rumors about the judge's chambers for years and years and years. I heard about it when I first moved over here. I just didn't know any of the players way back then.
I didn't know a thing about it.
Well,
But of course, I wouldn't. I'm not involved in. I'm not involved in things where people would know about that. I'm not from the community originally, and all I ever did was raise dogs and grow plants and teach.
Brianna's world. Judge Mullins made it plain and simple that he was untouchable. No matter what he did, he wouldn't be charged for it. So I can see where Mickey felt threatened for him and his family. And I also wanted to bring somebody else up that we've not really talked about a whole lot because he died. And that's Edison Banks. Edison Banks was the former Commonwealth attorney for Letcher County. He was there 30 years or something. Now, he was, he got sick. He's the one whose live-in nurse's aide kept getting pulled over and caught with all them rugs. Like she had 5 or 6 different kinds and had serious weight in them all, I reckon. And she was never prosecuted. She was let go. She just did as she pleased. And she kept getting pulled over in his vehicle. And if it's a Commonwealth attorney's vehicle, the tag on the back of their vehicle says like official or something. So the cops knew who they were pulling over. Well, come to find out, he has like an ex-wife and has some kids or something. Do you know who his power of attorney was? Miss Taylor Pratt, allegedly. And I reckon she's fighting for his entire estate. And it just blows me away that she was never charged. The only person that I know of that was trying to get that one of those cases prosecuted was Mickey. Mickey was trying to get her prosecuted, and it wasn't the prosecutor in Bell County, which is Pineville. That's pretty far distance from here. They wouldn't even answer Mickey's call. They had that in the newspaper. So, and look at what
How would Edison Banks be involved in this, though?
Look at the rugs and.
Well, was he partaking
in the pew? I don't mean he was involved in the pew. I just mean he was a player in the courthouse. And look at what went down with him when he was sick. He hires this 20-some-year-old nurse's aide that gets caught in his vehicle on several different occasions with possession, and she never gets charged. There's more. That's just smoke. But if anybody was to ever actually dig and look in there, what else was going on?
Well, I'm sure they're digging. Somebody's digging.
I've been to Mexico City. It's very warm and comfortable during the day. However, some evenings it's got a little cool. I had to bundle up somewhat.
Yeah, but I bet it didn't get down to 0. And that's what it did here at night.
Country Folk Live. I'm from a little town in Tennessee. With the Good Old Boys Club running the town, our last sheriff beat 11 felonies. Facts. Using inmates to build houses. I know I was an inmate working. Well, welcome to the channel, honey. That's what we're really looking at here is, corruption. And you're looking at a ring. Like what they're talking about is a ring. That's organized crime. That's what that is.
Well, but they weren't selling those girls, like.
You don't know what they were doing.
Well, that's true, but I just think that it was the people that was connected to that to that program was
The
where
ARC
the
program. Listen, there have been accusations against the preacher that was their middleman from the ARC program. There was a lot of women said he came onto them and did inappropriate things with them.
well, yeah, he put a video. My friend told me about, and he had his thingy out, showing it across the screen. I guess.
And
I guess he thought he had a good one. It looked just like all the others.
But see, that's it. That's exactly it. You know, what people, how many young girls or boys, both, how many are getting pulled in by people on the internet saying, hey, take some private pictures of yourself and send them to me. And then they end up getting B-mailed, then they threaten them to expose them and release them, and your church is going to know about it and your school's going to know about it. Like, there's a whole lot of that kind of stuff going on. What is it? The essay stuff, but the children's stuff, they trade that stuff. It's all online. Well, I don't know if it's all online, but the cyber people are like, cyber police are seriously trying to catch these predators. And I think when you do stuff like that, then you have somewhat of a predator mentality, right? I mean, how many people do you know that has actually committed some kind of essay against a child? Do you think they get healed? Do you think they have a program for that where they can fix them? Do you think that works? I don't. Alpha Femme Christine says, gotcha. The good old boy club is strong everywhere here in Tennessee. Yeah.
Well, really, what I'm thinking here doesn't have anything to do with individuals. It has to do with the fact of how much corruption is in the individual courthouses and with the people that are involved in justice in some way, shape, or form. It's just there seems to be a lack of accountability all the way around, not just here, but all over.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like they're running amok. You look at some of these other things that happen, and Lord have mercy, how they treat people.
Look how many women we're seeing getting arrested now for messing, women school teachers and women who work in schools who
nurses
are getting arrested messing with boys. There has to be a paper trail somewhere on this monitoring system. Fields had to turn the reports in to the sheriff or the judge. How did they explain no paperwork once they went to court? Well, that just shows you, like, we looked at a lot of the paperwork that we got through the public records request on Ben Field's case, and it was a very informal, unorganized
method of reporting
process. Yeah. Angie, his wife, was signing the receipts, a whole bunch of the receipts she signed. And I don't know, where she was at when she signed them. I don't know any of that. But, they did not have a good process for that. I've asked many times, what do you think Judge Kraft, thought about all of this? I would love to hear him comment, but I doubt he will.
I always liked the man, but
I did too. Yeah, Jimmy's
I don't
always
think he had anything. I don't think he was involved with any of the girls.
No, I don't think so either.
He's just too high class for that. I mean, he's.
Well, his dad, listen, Jimmy Kraft's dad is James Wiley Kraft, who just passed away not long ago, and he was the mayor of Whitesburg. He was also the former prosecutor in Whitesburg back in like the 80s and the 90s. So it's very generational. He's got a lot of generational.
His son's an attorney down in Lexington, I think.
Yeah, I thought I saw that too. He graduated. June says, Country Folk Live. How is Irwin and the people recovering from the flood? Yes, our prayers are with everybody.
You mean Irwin down in Tennessee?
I think so. I think that's what
Yeah.
Luigi took out someone who did not personally make decisions to deny care. There is a whole department who does that. The CEO. Oh, I guess they're talking about Luigi. Sorry, y'all. Extreme Blonde says he pew-pewed an unarmed judge on video and chased him around the desk, then paused to make sure the job was done. You don't walk from that. Good.
Well, that video is unreal. I just never saw. The only place I ever saw such as that was in the movies.
Extreme Blonde says he'll do time. The question is how much. Well, it depends on if we go to trial and if they negotiate a plea. I don't think that prosecutor's looking for a plea like I used to think he was. I think he's looking to take it to trial, but that's just my impression. Of course, we all get a different impression, I'm sure. I will say this, some parts of Kentucky is a hot mess since Loretta Lynn left us. Damn. Bugman 22, he seemed to think they were taking him out to the woods to unalive him. That is the impression I got from that video. Yeah, and
he was concerned about getting in the patrol car and riding a considerable distance with those folks.
I've kind of changed my mind on some of this stuff. The more that this is coming out, like I had these thoughts at the beginning. I said from the very beginning, I thought that it had more to do with the deposition and the Fields bunch of stuff. I just felt it from the get-go. But I didn't really think that they were gonna. I just never believed that anything would come out bad. I'm so used to them just covering it up and sweeping it under the rug, delay. And it doesn't look like that's going to happen this time. It looks like things are starting to trickle out. Georgia culture. Hi, honey. Paranoid, I meant, due to the deposition and his party as sheriff. I bet he did feel threatened. I'd be paranoid too. Yep. He appears in control physically, but the cause of the action he took and his utterances after those actions. I spoke to one of his friends right after it happened, well, maybe about a month or two after, and they were hunting buddies. They went hunting with Mickey before. And he asked me, he said, "What did you see in that video?" And I was like, I don't know. He didn't seem panicked to me. You know, he wasn't hurrying. He said, "Oh no." He said he looked like he was stalking his deer. He said,
I think he did too. He looked like he was stalking a deer.
That's what he said. And I was like, wow. Never thought about that before.
You know, he could have been in another place or time. You know, I don't know what all he's done in his life or anything like that. But well, I'm sure that he's been in on other cases where they had to go out and catch somebody. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. Maybe that action just is, you know, just comes natural to him.
Well, he got
He
up.
certainly looks natural.
Remember, y'all, when he gets up from that table or from the chair or whatever, he goes over there and locks the door. And then he comes back. So, there was a few things in there that, kind of
We'll
stand
have
out.
to watch that again.
Yeah, we will. A lot of networks don't show it no more. But I'll pull it up. I'll get it and pull it up, and we'll look at that tomorrow. I'm behind any small town sheriff has to win my trust. I wish I was ignorant to this topic. You and me both, Miss Amy. But sadly, I know almost all are corrupt, just different degrees, from accepting gifts to full-on frame jobs. Well, I want to bring up the Leslie County Jail because I've had several people reach out to me regarding the Leslie County facility and the jailer and his wife who run the Leslie County Jail. Everybody that's reached out to me has just sang their praises. Not one bad word has been uttered to me about these people who run the Leslie County Jail. I reckon he's a retired police officer, I think, or a former one. And they all have said that he was a really, really good cop when he was working, and that he does a very, very good job of running the Leslie County Jail. So I just wanted to make sure that I said that because everybody has been singing his praises, and it's not that from the in crowd either. It's from people who have been in jail with them, running it. People who he has arrested multiple times. But even though he arrested them, he made such a big impact in their life, I guess, or at least he made a very good impression on them. And that's what we want. I don't always want to criticize police officers. I want to talk about good ones. I went to school with the boy who had gotten into the KSP, the Kentucky State Police, and I told him he was the only one that I ever liked. And I'm sure he's still doing wonderful. He was too nice of a kid. I hope he stays that way. We got, let's see. I'm beginning to think the judge was pressuring him and possibly threatening Mickey. Somebody made the comment to me that judge was grinning or like making a smirking face right before Mickey pulled out his thing, his pew. So I'm going to pull that up tomorrow and we're going to look at it. We'll watch it again and see what we think with it. But still, my perception of it has kindly changed some since all this has come out, because it's no longer a wild, crazy rumor. Now there's starting to be some teeth in it. All right, let's see. Not repeating the mental illness. It's a one-time disability at the moment. They are saying he is not criminally insane. Criminally insane is a person that repeats the criminal acts. Okay, thank you.
Yes, that's phrased very well.
You was right, Mommy. You was right. In an insanity defense, the defendant admits the action but asserts a lack of culpability based on mental illness. And see, I don't think he has any mental illness. I think what they're going to end up pushing for is that because of the pressure, the threats, the the paranoia that he felt, was looking over his shoulder all over the place, that because of that pressure and that stress, he acted in a way that is not. Butch says coal mining companies hold more power than a judge. Well, that's about right. That's about right. Hi everyone. Good evening, Elizabeth and Mama. Hope my two favorite beautiful ladies are having a great night. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. Rosemary Mills. Why did he say they were trying to kidnap my wife and daughter if his wife kicked him out the night before? Well, if you weren't here last night, I said that I thought it might not be, she might not have kicked him out. One of his coworkers told me that he thought he was staying away from the house because of the paranoia that he was going through, the threats that he felt. So he could have been staying away from home willingly, not because she made him. So that's another possibility. Under the circumstances that Sheriff Stines was in, I can see why he would sacrifice himself for the welfare of his family. Yeah, if he thought that there was no other way. Reason these high-profile shows are popular is the drama they add. I don't put much faith in their info. Well, that's true. You don't never know who their sources are. That's for any of us. Thank you, Miss Janice Scott. Thank you. Sent me a cash app, $10. Appreciate you. Bless you, bless you, bless you. Bird dog. The judge may have threatened the sheriff. CEOs need little letters and smaller salaries. Oh, speaking of, that's another new tidbit of information too. The president of ARC, Matt Brown, has, I think, January 28th, I think, might have said February, but he's stepping down regardless of when. It said what day his last day would be. But so the ARC president, the rehab president, Matt Brown, he's one of the faces of their company. He is stepping down. It said in one of the articles that they interviewed Tim Robinson, the CEO, the big dog of ARC. They interviewed him about Matt Brown stepping down, and he said that he looked forward to doing business with Matt later on in some other capacity. So I figured he's going on to open his own business. Now that they seem to be sending all of their, or well, not sending, but now they seem to be opening a whole bunch more rehabs in Virginia or West Virginia, one of them. But the state that they're opening all these new rehabs in did not have the same Medicaid cuts that Kentucky did. So follow the money, y'all. Follow the money. So he is saying Mickey's only involvement was he should have had a better eye on Deputy Fields. Well, I think what he was saying was that is in the capacity that Mickey is mentioned in the civil lawsuit. So in the civil suit that Ned Pillersdorf filed, they're not claiming that Mickey had anything to do with the SMEC stuff. The only claim that is made in the civil suit is that he should have supervised and trained him better. So there's a lot of holes in this case, y'all. A lot of holes. He was paranoid riding to the jail. It is plain to see if you listen to him talk. Oh, yeah. Yep. Sheriff up in Johnson, McGoffin County got indicted on sheesh. It's awful. I agree there was pressure on him to keep quiet of his family would be harmed. What STS Nation guy, Joe, we love Joe, you were on with Elizabeth, spoke on is where Stein's pressure was. What STS Nation guy spoke on? Oh, yeah. I got you. I heard he had been pacing the yard and keeping watch on the porch at night. Well, I've spoke to several of his neighbors who live nearby him and his family, and they've all said that for like 3 months prior to the incident at the courthouse happening, he was having some mental problems. But it may not have actually been any kind of like diagnosed mental illness. It could have just been all this stress and all this pressure that he was under. And then you multiply that with no sleep, not being able to sleep, not being able to eat, being scared all the time. I can see it. Can't you, Mom?
Well, I don't know how long this lawsuit had been going on about this stuff, with them coming in and investigating and everything. But, yeah. He could have been walking around at night thinking somebody was coming to
see you later. Look here, see you later makes a great point. Bingo. He was not happy that Mickey was trying to lock up his caregiver. I bet. I would like to know. I would like to be able to see the files on those. But if they didn't arrest her, then they probably don't have no files. They probably don't have no records.
Hearsay.
Well, no, I mean public records requests, like put in a public records request for.
Well, I know that, but they didn't file any reports. The police didn't.
Right, that's what I'm saying. If they didn't file any reports, there's nothing you can get from it. The only thing we know is what was written in the newspaper. And if you're not, you have to have those sources to be able to write an article. Yes, we are still learning more each time about the sheriff and the judge. That Luigi thing is kind of different.
Who is Luigi? I forgot.
He's the one who pew-pewed the insurance CEO in the back.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
When you were going over stuff about Mickey going to see the other lawyer after the pew-pew going back to CH, he wanted to know if that lawyer had talked to FBI. That's huge. So there have been reports that Mickey went to go see Daniel Dotson, the big attorney in Whitesburg. And his office is just right across the street from the courthouse on the side of it. And so...
yes, I know where you mean.
And so there were some reports that Mickey had gone to see him before he went in to see the judge, but Dotson wasn't there. So I don't know if that's true or not. I've heard several people say that it is, that was down there.
I think one of those detectives said that, didn't they?
I don't know. But I've had several people that was down there tell me that. But, you don't know where they got it from.
Is Dotson the one in Mexico?
I reckon that's what several people have said, but I don't know. They could just be joshing, saying like, well, shoot, he's in Mexico. They
I don't
swear he
want to
is.
go to Mexico.
How would we know where he's at? It seems to all be coming together. Then why unalive the judge if you're a state witness against him already? Just arrest or call the state police.
Ho, ho, ho.
We listened to those interviews, both of them again. Do any of you guys, has your all's opinion changed any? Has your perspective changed any at all? Let's see. See you later says that was a slap in the face to Mickey. No one here would touch that case because of their relationship to banks. That's exactly right. See you later. They won't touch any case. If I can't tell you how many times I've went looking for an attorney down there in Whitesburg over the years, and if they feel any kind, if it's going to put them up against or cause them any kind of problem whatsoever, your money's not that important to them, because there's 10 more people that was arrested on some kind of possession charge or something that needs a lawyer that's going to be walking in the door right as soon as you leave. So they can pick and choose their cases. They can pick
Well, a lot
and
of people don't want domestic stuff. I can understand that. It's too testy.
And not just that, like anything, any misconduct, any kind of misconduct, the lawyers around here won't touch it. You know, I wasn't a very good client when I hired Ned, and I just take that on myself. I wasn't. I was just so outraged, and I wanted accountability. Like, I was ready to file a civil suit myself.
You wanted your quart of blood.
Well, I wanted, what they did was wrong, and it was wrong on all levels, but he wouldn't take my civil case. None of them would. You go try to tell somebody what you're in there for, they'll laugh you out the door. You know, the only time, and everybody used to be a defense attorney. You know, Matt Butler, our Commonwealth attorney, he was a defense attorney, so he defended a whole lot of people with money. Jimmy Kraft, our circuit court judge. I love Jimmy. Jimmy's a great guy. He's got a wonderful wife. But he used to be a defense attorney, and he defended a whole lot of people in Letcher County that had a whole lot of money. You know, not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying, you know, as an attorney, that's what you do. You take cases. But now they're judges, and now you got a whole new bunch of but the lawyers all stay the same. So they're all friends. Don't think for a second that these lawyers go in front of the judges and they don't know who they are, you know. Like, they're all friends. You got to remember, lawyers are very rare in this area. So they're a very small circle of people, and they know each other throughout the state, or probably tri-state wide. But you got to be, I don't even know what you got to be to get an attorney. Like, these ladies were very, very lucky that Ned took this case. If Ned wouldn't have taken that case, who would have? He was probably the only one that would. Ned's a good lawyer. He's a real good lawyer. He knows exactly what he's doing, and he knows who he's going up against.
All righty. I think I'm ready for bed.
All right. Boo says, I bet the whole county knew about It's sad how all them going to get away with their crimes. I don't think they're going to get away with it. I think, you know, just shining the light on all of this stuff helps some. Was she employed by home health? That would pull a lot of strings together in others' cases. Yeah. All right. Well, Mommy, before you go, I don't want you to leave yet because we're going to look at a missing case real quick, okay?
Okay.
So there was a case from Prestonsburg. Let me pull this up real quick. And I wanted to share this with you guys. This was from 2019, I guess. Okay. Can you see? All right. $2,000 reward for information that leads to her direct whereabouts. Kristen Nicole Garrett, Prestonsburg, Kentucky, 33 years old, 4'11", 95 pounds, blonde strawberry hair, green eyes, scar mark on her left forehead. And then she's got tattoos, the name Charlie on her left neck, frog tattoo, left foot, butterfly, right shoulder. Last seen, August 30th, 2019, on foot at Marathon Gas Station on Route 114, Prestonsburg, wearing jeans, orange and red t-shirt, and white Nike shoes. Please contact KSBP with any information. And there's her beautiful face.
Oh, she was a cutie, wasn't she?
Yeah, she's got some children who desperately miss their mommy. And sadly, her brother and his wife, I think, took the kids, and her brother just passed away. So if anybody knows anything, get a hold of KSP. And there is also a Facebook page, and for her, I think it was Bring Krista Home.
What happened to her brother?
They said that he had a long illness, so it wasn't anything that, I don't
Nothing
think
questionable.
surprised. Yeah, no.
So I wonder where the kids will go.
Hopefully they'll
But
stay in the same home that they were in. I think he was married, I think. So hopefully his, the home that they're in, they'll stay. I don't know. But
Where was she from?
Prestonsburg. There aren't very many details about that case, from what I understand, because it is an ongoing investigation. And so they're not allowed to put names out or anything. But it seems if anybody knows anything about that case, her family seems to think that there are people who know everything about this case. If you do know something, please get a hold of KSB. Any kind of tip, I'm sure you can stay anonymous, or reach out to the family, reach out to the Facebook page. It is still active, so, or reach out to us. We'll get it. We'll get it to them. All right, guys. We'll go ahead and just leave this one here for tonight. And if you've not hit that subscribe button, take a second and just push it. If you've not hit the like button, hit that like button for us. It helps us grow the channel, and it helps us get out in front of more viewers who don't know about hillbilly crime.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye, Mommy. I love you.
Love you.
All right, guys. Well, you all have a great rest of your evening. Stay warm. Stay blessed. Peace out, Girl Scout. Bye.